Hello, everyone. It's Ted here. I had some time tonight. There was no games, so I had a few minutes, and I just wanted to do a quick chat with everyone. Um, I haven't had one of these in a couple months. Last one was with Ghost and I just decided to do this. So let's still get started. So first thing I want to talk about is just what we have in store this month on Blades and Blasters. And really, we have even though December and the holidays makes it tough for gaming, we do have quite a few games already scheduled, and at least one new game scheduled. And that would be Grant's Shadows of the Demon Lord campaign. So you'll see that new coming. There are other new games coming as well in January. There's a D&D game run by Chris that will be running then. We have all our normal games as usual. We have over 15 campaigns going currently on the group, and we have this month new or last month new. We have the D6 Star Wars run by Bo. We do have a couple games on hiatus still, which we're trying to find a way to kind of bring to a conclusion, just due to one of our players still being out. So we're trying to figure that out, and we want to bring those to a conclusion because one of the things about our group is we always like to conclude our games in a narrative fashion instead of just them just disappearing, right? Or just stopping and not having any kind of resolution. So, yeah. So we've got a few new players last month or so that have worked out real well. And I want to give every one of those people a welcome here. We have, I'm not going to go through the list of who those are, but yeah, you will see them. Some are in campaigns, some are getting ready to get in campaigns, some have been one shot so far, and that sort of thing. So right now we have about 25 players that aren't guests. So we have 25 players that have actively played. Now we had some that were inactive last month due to various things, but hopefully we'll have a lot more players stepping up and playing games in the next 2 months, particularly January. I understand that December is going to be tough for a lot of people, myself included. I'm going to be out of town for like 10 days. So, yeah. Yeah, as far as the games that are going on, we have quite a few, and you all see them, being posted on the site from time to time, right? So next week, I think we at least have Dark Heresy, Star Trek, and Darren Shattered Shadows of the Demon Lord campaign next week. So I'm excited about that. It's been a little bit. So Otto will be back for all his fans out there, and I know there's several of you. So yeah. Yeah, so that's just your general comments about what's going on the site. Um, Otherwise, I wanted to kind of give a little attention to something that I've kind of noticed happening. And what you'll notice in our games, we've been playing more one shots. Not still, probably less than 20% of our games are one shots still by far. Maybe even less than that. I'd have to look at the statistics, but one thing that's clear is kind of from kind of conversation I've had, we noticed that sometimes in the one shot games they tend to be a little bit more campy or humorous in nature, or just people just kind of messing around, because that's just the nature of a one shot, right? You don't have to revisit these characters again, probably, that sort of thing. But I think it's important for people to understand that there's a difference between games that are completely jokey and campy, like the Feng Shui game that North just ran, for instance. Right? That's obviously a game where you're just joking around, right, and being funny and being outrageous. Um, there's a difference between those games, even one-shots, and games that have a serious tone, even in one-shot games, right? So I think people really need to kind of stick to the tone of the game that's presented to them. If you're playing in a serious, even if it's a one-shot, if you're playing in a game where your character is someone who's serious in nature, then you should play that game as if it were. Um, I mean, joking around in character or even out of character is fine for some limited portion of what you're doing, but uh, to let it overtake your entire role play and just make it a joke is just not really acceptable. And I think I've seen some of that. That's just in general. And in campaign games, if you're way off tone of the game, if the game is super lighthearted and you're super grumpy and grouchy in character and serious, then that doesn't make sense. And definitely the opposite doesn't either, right? Which is mostly what you would see, right? You have a tone of a game that's super serious and your character is not taking it so serious. Yeah, it's just not. I guess what I would say is if you don't know what the tone of the game is you're playing, you should make sure to understand that before you get started with your GM, right? If I mean, I think it should be clear most times, right? I mean, if I'm running a Shadows of the Demon Lord campaign or a Warhammer 40K or Warhammer Fantasy game or a Song of Ice and Fire game, I know that the tone of those games are going to be serious and fairly grim. If I'm running something that's, you know, action movie world or feng shui, or if you're running those as a campaigns, we don't have really too many campaigns that are more lighthearted in nature, right? Most everything is pretty serious as far as campaigns go. Now, Ian Wolf is going to maybe run something that's a little funny. I don't know. He might even be watching this right now. I'm not sure. But so there is possibilities for more jokey campaigns, and I think that's great. And you should really kind of tie into that. But just know the tone of the game you're playing and stick to that tone. I think that's important. I don't, it, especially like if you're in a game and you're really going on with some tone, right? Like just a jokey tone and everybody else is not, then maybe you should kind of be like, wait, what am I doing here? That sort of thing. Um, yeah, I think that's really about all I have to say about that. It's just it's important to know the tone of the game you're playing and kind of meet that tone of the game. Um, what else? I think that's really all I have for tonight. I suggest people that are wanting to play in our games or interested in playing in our games to comment on videos, and someone will contact you. There is a link to our forum site, which is not used too often, which you can go to and get a hold of us there. I check it almost every day, at least for that reason. So those are the best ways to find us. Now you can find uh, our Discord link through that as well, or someone can give it to you via YouTube private message or something. So that's where you would get started. We're not actively recruiting anyone right now per se, but people that do find us through YouTube, we automatically allow them to come in and get started as a recruit in our process, right? So yeah, I think we're always looking for people who actually are really dedicated and want to play. And right now, I think we have a good mix of GMs and players as far as just the amount of people. There are some players I would like to see play more if possible, right? Um, but life happens, and last month was tricky as being with Thanksgiving and everything, and this month will be probably even more tricky. But yeah, if you're interested in, I think really good games, and a lot of variety of what you might like. Check us out, and if you're seeing this, you probably already are. But if you're just sitting out there and lurking and watching and stuff, that's great. But if you want to actually get involved, we'd love to have you. So, um, everybody have a good night and happy gaming. See ya.